A lot of people ask me why we should study abroad, what matters. The education in India is as good as any other country, the opportunities in India are as good as any other country, which is partially correct, or to a great extent. If someone wants to build a successful career in India, the path seems much more comfortable if you were to compare it with how it would be in a different country, because in India you're not dealing with a different culture, you're not dealing with change of place, you're not dealing with cultural shocks, you're not all alone, and you've got friends, you've got people, you understand the people you work with, so it becomes slightly easier. You're able to bypass some of the challenges that you would have otherwise faced if you were abroad. So yes, in India it could be slightly easier. However, what really, in my experience and understanding and through my exposure, what really makes a difference is what opportunities you get when you go to a study institution in India, and versus what you would get in a university abroad. And the most important factor, which in my eyes makes all the difference, is who you study from, the faculty, the teachers. If you look at the statistics, you would find that 80% of faculty in India does not have industry experience, which means they complete their education, which they're very good at. They complete their qualification in order to become a teacher or professor, and they start teaching. So, as a typical teacher role or as a literal teacher role, they're very good at it because they've mastered the the all the knowledge that is probably there, to be mastered. But if you were to study the same thing abroad, your faculty, your teacher or professor would most likely be someone who has worked in the industry for maybe 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and they then decided to become a professor, or they have been doing it parallelly. So, in fact, one thing you can actually understand, those teachers would have been students at some point. In India, we are not allowed legally to work part time. It's not a trend that we follow. We're not conditioned to that sort of an experience. Overseas, everyone, whether you are from a wealthy family or you are from a middle class family or any other economic status, you tend to work part time in some or the other role. So even if you don't have your own industry experience, you've got some or a lot of work exposure, you know. So that's what makes all the difference. If you are starting from someone who's been there in your shoes, as you would be 4 years down the line, 2 years down the line, if you are doing a bachelor's or master's respectively, the kind of learnings you will get would be a lot more, or in a great context, would be a lot more outside the book, outside the text, outside the labs. Versus in India, it would be a lot more confined to what is there in the textbooks. And that's the reason when students go from their college to workplaces, about 50 to 60% of them start to experience symptoms of anxiety, depression, mental health issues, and all that is because they were not prepared mentally for the newness, for the new world. So this is why you should consider studying abroad while India gets there. Of course, at some point we will be there, because now there are initiatives being taken where, you know, people are being called from industry to deliver lectures, like guest lecturers, and visiting professors. It's always been there, but earlier it used to be another professor is becoming your visiting professor, and the same professor again doesn't come with industry experience. But now the change is that those visiting professors can actually be people who are working in the industry. So that makes a difference. But there's a very small percentage of those right now. Your career will not wait for the change. So if you are someone who's going to head to a college in the next 5 years, or you've already done your college, been working, unable to find your break, you should consider going for a higher education degree abroad. And the kind of learnings you will get would really beat a lot of things that you wouldn't even have imagined that exist in the real world out there, and that can directly and indirectly impact your performance, your success, and your growth. So in a smaller version of this video, if you ask me why you should study abroad, I would say it's not about systems, it's not about any of it, to be honest. If you look at the primary factors, it's all about the fact that you will be taught by people who have been in the industry, who come with a lot of experience, and who can teach you beyond textbook, beyond laboratories, and who can lend you their own experience, so that you're better prepared and you're ahead, and not really behind when you start your work. So, if this is something that you can relate to, if this is something that makes sense to you, then I would love to catch up with you for a one to one session and discuss this further. Thank you.